Welcome to Downshift, my name is Matt, and earlier this year we took a look at the newly facelifted for 2024 Mercedes GLE, but this one here next to me adds a dash of picante, courtesy of the AMG division. This is of course their GLE 53, and our mission today is to show you all of the cool and interesting things and everything that you need to know about this AMG GLE 53. So thanks to our friends at Mercedes-Benz of Milwaukee for letting us do that. Let's get to it. First thing we're going to talk about is what makes it an AMG, and of course what makes it an AMG is always the beating and thumping heart, the engine. Now you'll notice that there's no plaque on the engine cover. This is not a hand-built and assembled in the Falterbach by the select few AMG engineers, but it's still a good engine. It's a 3-liter inline-6 turbocharged that we're familiar with. It's got a 48-volt system, and here in the GLE 53 it makes about 429 horsepower and 413 pound-feet of torque. And that, going to all 4 wheels, is good enough for 60 in just under 5 seconds, about 4.8. And it'll also do, with that 48-volt mild hybrid system, about 20 mpg combined. But what does that mean? What is the context? Who is that competing against? I have no idea if that's good, bad, or sideways. Well, the main competitors to this GLE 53 AMG are things like the BMW X5 M60i, which was also refreshed for this past year. You've got the Porsche Cayenne on the upper echelon. And then of course you've got the Audi SQ8, which is more of a direct competitor, but all of those can be had with V8s, even in this not quite top trim, but still more performance-oriented trims. Okay, so we've covered the engine and what makes it AMG, and we've covered the competitors, but there's a lot of GLEs in Mercedes' own lineup, so where does this fit? Well, at the entry level of the GLE line, you get the 350, which is the video we did previously. It's a 2-liter inline 4-cylinder, and then you can jump up to the 450, which gets you a 3-liter inline 6 with a turbo, which sounds suspiciously similar here. But this gets more power and it gets some AMG stuff, cooling and some remapping and tuning. And then if you want V8, there's a couple of flavors. There's a 580, which is a 4-liter twin-turbo V8, or you can go for the full AMG 63. That's the hand-built version of the 4-liter hot V twin-turbocharged V8 from a Falterbach. So this could be considered kind of the half step down from the top Halo GLE 63. And then we're going to talk about the look, because I think this looks fantastic. It looks better than the SQ8 for sure, and probably better than an X5, especially in this Alpine gray. It's kind of a milky, almost Nardo gray, but with a little bit more gloss to it. But here are some of the updates for 2024. The grille has been slightly reworked, but the main thing you're going to notice are the new running lights. They've got these kind of 4-quad, almost Porsche-looking LED runners. The lower fascia has also been slightly more sleekified to look like the 63 and some of the new and full new generation cars coming out of Mercedes. But one of the things that I like is the Falterbach logo that you get on the hood here. Usually this would be the 3-pointed star saying Mercedes, but I like that you get the Falterbach logo here. Of course, you've got the double bubble power dome hood. But this is one of my favorite things. These are the 22-inch matte or satin black finished wheels. They look like they're center lock wheels. And of course they've got the silver, or, you know, this is Mercedes-AMG's racing color. They're always the silver arrows. So of course you get silver brakes. Looks fantastic. Of course, black for the night package on your window and wing mirror. You do still get chrome for your door handles. But from the profile, the car remains unchanged. The same size, the same shape as it was last year. Of course, turbo plus 4MATIC Plus on the front, and around the back, really, again, very subtle updates. It's just the taillights. The rest remains the same. But also, if you look carefully, you can see you've got the Mercedes 3-pointed star on your rear windshield wiper. And this was a small thing I saw on the BMW M2 originally, and then again on the M4. It's in the gas cap. You've got this little push button, almost like where you might put diesel exhaust fluid, but obviously this isn't a diesel, so if anyone can tell me what this is, that would be appreciated. Leave it down in the comments. But now I want to talk about its feet. We did already talk about how handsome the wheels are, and they are, but they're 22-inch wheels wrapped in Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires. This is an aggressive performance tire, and that's a very big contributing factor as to why this thing handles so well. Another reason that this thing handles so well is you get air suspension as standard. You can raise and lower the car, and it'll also firm up and soften off depending on what drive mode you're in. It works really well, but I do like that you can raise and lower it. And that fact becomes especially helpful when you get to the trunk. Of course, it's power opening, you've got the close and lock, you've got a little hanger here if you want to hang things, but if you come into here, you've got this little tab here. This is how you can adjust your air suspension to lower it or raise it up to make it easier to get things in and out of the trunk. But the trunk itself is huge. This is bigger than an X5's trunk, it's bigger than a Q8's trunk. You still have grocery bag hangers, privacy covers, the seats fold 40, 20, 40. Only demerit I guess I'll give it is the fact that you can't drop the rear seats from the trunk here. Other than that, huge trunk, loads of practicality, and I love the fact that you can raise and lower the car to make it easier to get things in and out. And so much of the AMG experience has to do with sound. And here, of course, you get quad tips. They're finished in black, courtesy of the night package. And even though this doesn't have 8 cylinders like some of the other competitors, it still sounds pretty good. And one of the things I like is you can control the valved exhaust, even just on your programmable AMG steering wheel here. But then I want to talk about these seats real quick. They're very similar design to how they were last year, but you've got great bolstering here. You've got some kind of contrasted Alcantara kind of woven into the seat itself. AMG placard, of course. They're heated, they're cooled as standard. You can't get massage though, but of course, same old seat controls. These are the old school ones. They're not the pressure sensitive ones like you get in the new cars, but I can select this and make all of the same adjustments to the passenger seat, which is very cool. And then if you look in the rear, we'll talk about it more, but it's a great big rear seat. This can be had, the GLE can be had with 3 rows, but don't, because you'll ruin the rear seat and you'll take away trunk space. Speaking of the rear seats, let's check it out. Illuminated, chrome, AMG kick plates, AMG floor mats. We'll hop in. Again, I'm 6'1", sitting behind myself. And I have loads of knee room, not a problem. Map pockets, I've got vents back here. Not standard for a 3rd zone of climate back here. This is an option, but it is not standard. You can also get heated seats back here, but you do get chargers. This is one thing we saw in the new 2024 GLC, no chargers in the back. So the GLE fixes that. You still have chargers back here. And you got a nice big pano roof. Very nice, very comfy. We talked about some of the mild updates. The biggest update on the interior is, of course, the steering wheel. We'll talk about this a little bit more later. But you do have newly reskinned software for 2024 as well, and you get some big updates. The biggest one is the fact that you now have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. That's huge. That, on the face of it, totally worth upgrading. But if you still weren't convinced, you still have loads of customizability. It's nice and sharp. You've got totally customizable digital cluster here with like 7 different screens, including a full navigation screen, just like Audi's virtual cockpit. But you've got loads of customizability in here. You've got AMG performance pages, so you can track your fuel economy. You can track your steering angle and your suspension damping. You can track your live readouts of your power. And of course, you can track lap times. I don't know who's ever going to use this in their GLE 53, but hey, you can. And then on the other side of the coin, you have an off-road screen, which tells you things like your elevation and again, your steering angle and your damper suspension, or compression, I should say. And of course, things like your pitch and roll and all sorts of stuff. And you still have 360 cameras, nice trail approach camera. And of course, you've got other views as well. But again, one of the best things that Mercedes does is in fact the 360 cameras. So we've got different views. And of course, we can do the full body. So we can get in here. You can see our little force field. The vehicle is kind of the same spec. It's silver wheels, red brakes, and a silver finish versus our Alpine gray, and then of course our black wheels, but still very cool, awesome, high resolution 360 cameras. These see better than my grandma, for sure. And one of the things that I like that it hasn't been moved to the new vertical style screen is the fact that you still have physical climate controls here. It's just an easy toggle switch, it's nice and clicky, and look at the ambient light when I adjust it. Red when I go hotter, blue when I go colder. But then one of the coolest flexi features I've seen on a Mercedes, and I don't see anywhere else, is heated and cooled cup holders. And of course, why wouldn't you have ambient light to go along with it? And it has to be one of my favorite things in Mercedes. You go to comfort, ambient light, you've got different colors. We kind of showed you with the vents here, but you can still do multicolors. You've got monochrome or single color. You can adjust it here. You can do like Mercedes, Petronas, AMG, Formula One, green or teal. But if you go into multicolor, Miami Rose, And Malibu, wait, where's my Malibu Sunset? Malibu, there it is. Malibu Sunset is my favorite. It's awesome. It dances and pulses. It totally changes. It really, really adds to the experience at night. Is it a gimmick? Yeah. But is it awesome? Also, yeah. And then I'm going to talk about this little stalk right here on your AMG steering wheel. Your AMG steering wheel is awesome, by the way. It's newly updated, flat bottom, and of course you can control your drive modes here. Of course, different stuff in here if you want exhaust or active start stop, drive height, etc. But talking about this stock right here, this is your Distronic stuff for your adaptive cruise, your autopilot. You do not get adaptive cruise as standard. This is a $100,000 vehicle and you don't get adaptive cruise as standard. But if you do option the Distronic stuff and you upgrade, this is a very good system. And the last thing we'll talk about is the price. Now this GLE 53 starts at about $88,000, which actually makes it less expensive to start than the X5 M60i and the SQ8 from Audi, and of course the Porsche Cayenne equivalent. But this one's got a bunch of kit on it. You saw the heated and cooled cup holders. This thing's optioned up to about $103,500. And yeah, I think at $100,000 it starts to be a lot, but you're getting a lot of car here. But enough talk, let's go for a drive and see just if it's worth it. Build boost, let go. God, I love that gearbox. I mean, yes, it does have about 100 less horsepower than the X5. It doesn't feel quite as fast, but to suggest that this thing feels slow or lazy or underpowered, I really don't think so. You're getting about 100 pound-feet of torque from the electric motor, and it makes great sound. You've got great shift drama. That's kind of what I like in the Audi as well. I think the Audi also sounds a little bit better, but this straight six doesn't sound bad. I'm getting V8 drama, or not V8, I'm getting AMG experiences though. I'm getting sound, I'm getting shift, snap, and that's kind of what I'm looking for. So Sport Plus, this is really where this thing kind of wants to be. Also where it wants to be is on power in a corner, because the rear biased 4MATIC system here is brilliant. This thing handles really well. It's got great tires, thick tires, anti-roll bars. You can option up to the active anti-roll bars. Great suspension, I mean, this thing handles pretty well. It likes to be driven hard. It's when you're kind of cruising around in comfort mode and not doing AMG things, then it's like, hey man, you know what I'm about, right? Let's do that. But yeah, overall, good SUV. Let's get into final thoughts. So those are the 14 things you need to know about the Mercedes-AMG GLE 53. It's spacious, it's really handsome, it's got plenty of zip, and it's a good car. It's got a little bit busy ride, but other than that, really got no issue with it. Love the shift drama. So thank you again to our friends at Mercedes-Benz in Milwaukee for letting us have a go in their GLE 53, and we'll see you in the next one.